Most traders hate making mistakes. Every bad trade feels painful. Every emotional decision creates frustration. Every loss feels like proof that something is wrong. And because of this, many traders develop the wrong relationship with mistakes. They fear them. They avoid them. They become emotionally destroyed by them. But profitable traders think differently. They understand something extremely important. Trading mistakes can either destroy you emotionally, or they can become the exact thing that makes you stronger. And that is exactly what I want to talk about in this video. How to turn trading mistakes into long-term strength. Because once you truly understand this, your relationship with losses, setbacks, and emotional mistakes will completely change. You will stop seeing mistakes as permanent failure. You will stop attacking yourself emotionally after bad trades. And you will start using every mistake as information for growth. If you stay with me until the end of this video, you will understand why mistakes are necessary for long-term improvement, how professional traders learn emotionally from failure, and how you can slowly build stronger discipline and emotional resilience through difficult experiences. And if you want to continue building a strong trading mindset, consider subscribing to Bull Mindset. This channel is focused on discipline, psychology, and long-term consistency. Now let us begin with a simple truth. Every trader makes mistakes. Even experienced traders. Even professional traders. The difference is not the absence of mistakes. The difference is how traders respond to mistakes emotionally. Now let us go deeper. Most struggling traders react emotionally after bad trades. They become frustrated, angry, discouraged. They start doubting themselves. They start doubting their strategy. And because emotions take control, they stop learning from the situation clearly. Now imagine a growth-minded trader. They still feel disappointment. They still feel frustration. But instead of reacting emotionally, they become curious. They ask questions. What caused this mistake? What emotional trigger appeared? What behavior needs improvement? This mindset changes everything. Now let us talk about another important truth. Mistakes reveal emotional weaknesses, and this is extremely valuable. If you overtrade emotionally, the mistake reveals impatience. If you revenge trade after losses, the mistake reveals emotional instability. If you risk too much after winning, the mistake reveals greed and overconfidence. Mistakes expose patterns, and once patterns become visible, improvement becomes possible. Now, let us move into real trading examples. Imagine a trader who takes 3 emotional trades after a losing setup. At the end of the day, they feel frustrated and ashamed. They blame themselves emotionally. They think, "I am terrible at trading. Maybe I will never succeed." Now imagine another trader in the same situation. They also recognize the mistake. But instead of emotional self-destruction, they analyze the behavior calmly. They notice something important. The emotional trades started after frustration from the first loss. Now they understand the trigger. And because they understand the trigger, they can improve the behavior. This is how mistakes become long-term strength. Now let us consider another situation. A trader exits profitable trades too early repeatedly. Fear controls their decisions. Now imagine a disciplined trader experiencing the same problem. Instead of becoming emotionally discouraged, they begin studying the pattern carefully. They notice their fear increases after recent losses. Now they understand the emotional connection. And this awareness slowly improves their confidence. Now let us go deeper into psychology. Most people are emotionally conditioned to avoid mistakes. In school, mistakes are treated like failure. In many jobs, mistakes are punished. So naturally, traders become emotionally afraid of failure too. But trading requires a different mindset, because mistakes are part of the learning process. Now let us talk about emotional resilience. Resilience means recovering emotionally after setbacks. This is one of the most important skills in trading, because no trader avoids losses forever. No trader avoids emotional difficulty forever. Long-term success depends on recovery, not perfection. Now let us talk about another important truth. The market constantly tests emotional stability. After losses, emotions want revenge. After wins, emotions want excitement. After frustration, emotions want impulsive action. And every emotional reaction creates opportunities for self-awareness. Now let us talk about self-awareness more deeply. Self-awareness means understanding your emotional patterns clearly, understanding what triggers fear, understanding what triggers greed, understanding what creates impulsive behavior. Mistakes often reveal these emotional patterns better than winning trades. Now let us talk about ego. Ego makes learning difficult, because ego wants to protect itself emotionally. Ego wants to avoid being wrong. But growth-minded traders accept mistakes honestly. They understand emotional honesty creates improvement. Now let us talk about patience. Turning mistakes into strength takes time. Emotional growth is gradual. Discipline develops slowly.
Self-awareness develops slowly, and many traders become impatient during this process. But profitable traders understand long-term improvement requires repetition and reflection.
Now let us talk about another important truth. One mistake does not define your future. Many traders emotionally attach their identity to bad decisions. They think one losing day means they are failures. But professional traders think differently. They separate identity from outcomes. They focus on behavior, not emotional self-judgment. Now let us talk about overtrading. Overtrading often becomes one of the biggest learning experiences for traders. At first, traders chase every movement emotionally. They believe more trades create more opportunity. But eventually, emotional exhaustion appears. Frustration increases. Discipline disappears. And through this painful experience, many traders finally learn the importance of patience. This is how mistakes create growth. Now let us talk about revenge trading. Revenge trading teaches traders the danger of emotional decision-making. After enough painful experiences, disciplined traders begin recognizing emotional triggers earlier. This awareness slowly creates emotional control. Now let us talk about another important lesson. Mistakes become powerful only when you study them honestly. Ignoring mistakes changes nothing. Repeating mistakes changes nothing. But observing mistakes carefully creates transformation. If this video is helping you understand the deeper psychological side of trading, consider subscribing to Bull Mindset, because mindset is what separates emotional traders from disciplined traders. Now let us go even deeper. Most profitable traders became emotionally stronger through difficult experiences, through losses, through frustration, through emotional mistakes. These experiences forced self-awareness, forced discipline, forced emotional maturity. Now let us talk about another psychological trap. Many traders expect instant emotional control. But emotional mastery develops gradually.
At first, emotions control behavior strongly, then awareness slowly increases, then reaction time slows down, then discipline improves. This process takes time.
Now let us talk about emotional maturity. Emotional maturity means accepting mistakes calmly, without emotional panic, without self-destruction, without impulsive reactions. This emotional balance creates stability. Now let us talk about another important truth. Sometimes your biggest mistakes become your most valuable lessons. The trader who blew accounts through overtrading often becomes extremely disciplined later. The trader who experienced emotional revenge trading often develops strong patience later. Painful experiences often create the strongest psychological growth. Now let us talk about mental frameworks that help turn mistakes into long-term strength. The first framework is curiosity over self-hatred. Study mistakes calmly instead of attacking yourself emotionally. The second framework is progress over perfection. Do not expect flawless trading. Focus on gradual improvement. The third framework is responsibility without emotional destruction.
Take responsibility for mistakes without destroying confidence. The fourth framework is long-term thinking. One mistake does not define your future as a trader. Now let us talk about practical exercises. One powerful exercise is journaling emotional mistakes daily. Write down what happened. Write down what triggered the mistake. Write down what emotion appeared. This creates awareness. Another exercise is reviewing losing trades calmly after market hours. Do not review emotionally during stress. Review with clarity. Another helpful practice is identifying repeated emotional patterns. Notice recurring behaviors. Notice recurring emotional triggers. Another exercise is creating rules specifically for your emotional weaknesses. If overtrading is your weakness, limit trade frequency. If revenge trading is your weakness, create mandatory break periods after losses. Another important exercise is practicing emotional pauses. Before reacting impulsively, stop, breathe. Observe your emotional state. This small pause can prevent major mistakes. Now let us go even deeper. The strongest traders are not people who never struggled emotionally. They are people who learned from emotional struggle. They became more patient through painful impatience. They became more disciplined through emotional mistakes. They became calmer through difficult experiences. This is how growth happens psychologically.
Now let us talk about confidence. Real confidence does not come from perfection. It comes from knowing you can recover, knowing you can learn, knowing you can improve after mistakes. This creates emotional stability. Now let us talk about long-term success. Long-term profitable traders are adaptable. They continue learning constantly. They continue correcting behavior constantly. They continue improving emotional control constantly. This continuous growth creates consistency. Now let us move toward the final message. Mistakes are not the enemy in trading. Ignoring mistakes is the real danger. Every emotional mistake contains information. Every setback contains lessons. Every difficult experience contains opportunities for growth. And if you approach mistakes with awareness and honesty, they slowly become long-term strength. Let me leave you with one final thought.
The traders who eventually succeed are not traders who avoided failure completely. They are traders who learned how to grow through failure. They became stronger emotionally, more disciplined, more patient, more self-aware. And if you continue learning from mistakes, instead of emotionally running from them, your mindset becomes stronger. If your mindset becomes stronger, your decisions improve. And if your decisions improve, consistency becomes possible. And if you want to continue building that mindset, subscribe to Bull Mindset. I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.